Welcome back and welcome to day 3 of the Kickstart challenge. Well done for making it this far. We are halfway through and I'm excited to use the bits that we've done already. So day 1, we looked at your vision setting. So hopefully you have a lovely vision statement written by now. Day 2, we were looking at your goals and we talked about setting 4 goals, one for each quarter of the year, and really focusing in our jewelry business. Focus is one of the main keys to growth. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see happen in jewelry businesses is the lack of focus and kind of doing too many different things at the same time, and then getting disheartened that none of them seem to be working. So whilst it's important that we take action and do experiment and try different things in our business, it's also important to really have that focus on what am I doing next? What is the next thing? So that we can make some progress and move forward and see what's working for you and see what things we need to do more of and see what things we can kind of let go of as well. So we've got vision, we've got our goals. Today we're going to look at our action plan. And this is where we take those 4 goals that you have set for yourself and divide them into kind of a chunk of tasks. So we're starting to get a little bit more specific about what we're going to be doing this year, the actions that we're going to be taking that are going to lead to those goals and that vision. And I have some examples for you so we can work through them together. So my first goal, if you remember from yesterday, was to create this 12-piece collection. So I've done a new page and I create these in Canva. You can easily do it in any way, shape or form that you like. If you prefer writing things out, you can do that. But I like Canva because I can add some nice juicy pictures and, kind of make it look appealing as well. So my goal was to create a 12-piece collection. It was a little bit more elaborate than that, but essentially that's what I'm going to be doing. So how can I break that down into a few different chunks? Well, first of all, I've written down here, I'll read it because it's very small for you to see on the screen. My action points. So my first action point is to spend some time designing and coming up with ideas, which for me is going to be doing some sketching, probably making some sample pieces, and practicing techniques if needed. So there may be some things in this collection that I've not done for a while. I might need to have a little bit of a practice. Make some sample pieces because sometimes what I design and what it comes out as is very different. And just generally the design phase. So give time to that. The next action point that I'm going to want to do is to order my materials and my gemstones. Also, any solder that I might need, especially if I'm working with gold and various different things that I might not use as much. I might need to make sure that I've got that in stock, and also any tools. So as I'm doing my sample pieces, if I notice that there's any tools that I need, there's always tools that we need, surely. Great excuse to buy more tools. Then make sure I've got those in so that when I sit down to do my collection pieces, nothing's going to stop or get in the way of that kind of focus of what I'm doing. And then I've started to put it into how is this going to work into my routine, which we're going to look at in more detail tomorrow. So I've said I want to create 2 pieces a week for 6 weeks. So my goal is the 12 pieces in the collection. And I've decided that I think that I'm going to manage to do 2 pieces each week, 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks' time, the collection is likely to be finished. I'm starting to look at time. I'm starting to look at how these things might come into place. And of course, there will be some other steps that I've not thought about, but at least with the action plan, we're starting to chunk down and get those different action points written in. So our brains can start processing and start thinking, okay, designing, ordering materials. And even this stuff is so simple. We do it, many jewelers do this every day. But having the organization to sort of really process it will help make it clearer and easier when we come to do it. So there's no panic. We're just sort of like, oh yeah, I knew this was going to happen. Things like hallmarking, that may come into your action point as well. Depends on the type of jewelry you're making and how you make it. But just starting to chunk down, and also depends on your goal. So it may be nothing to do with jewelry making for this quarter. So how can you start to dissect the goal into manageable chunks that you can start thinking about? That was my first goal. My next goal, I'll just show you a few examples because they're quite different, and I think it might help you to process and understand how you can chunk yours down as well. For some people, this will be very natural and easy, but others of us, it's going to take a bit more brain power to kind of figure out how to chunk these goals down. So goal 2, which was my quarter 2 goal, was all about taking photographs and launching an initial website, which is a little cheeky because it's kind of like two goals in one, but we're going with it. It's a new business and, we're going to make it work. It's only 12 pieces. So I've divided it into photography and website. So for the photography, I've decided I'm not going to take the pictures myself because I really want, it's fine jewelry. I really want some beautiful photography. And, in this example, it's not the skill set that I have. So I'm going to research a photographer. That's going to take a little bit of time. That's my first action point. Once I've found a photographer I like, I'm going to hire a photographer and book a shoot for 12 pieces with different setups and different angles. So I'm going to look at what different photography I want so that when I go to the photographer, I can say, this is what I want. I can direct them really well, and I'm more likely to get the kind of results I want from the shoot in that way. You might say that I'm going to put together a Pinterest board of other jewelry photography that I really like and show it to the photographer so they can understand my aesthetic and the style that I'm after with my jewelry. I'm also going to set a deadline with the photographer for when the images will be completed and ready so that I'm not constantly chasing them or waiting or anything like that. So that because I know that there's a progression that I want to create this website. And in this scenario, I've only got 3 months to do it. So I want to make sure that the photography is done within the first month to 6 weeks so that I've got another month to 6 weeks to really focus on creating that portfolio website that we spoke about before. So hopefully you can see in this example really what I'm doing and how I'm chunking down these bigger goals into smaller, manageable chunks. And of course you might think, well, I don't really know how to do the thing. And that's why Google is your friend. You can research, you can have a look. And just do your best guess. Nobody knows what they're doing until they've done it. And we make the mistakes and then we learn and then we develop. And of course, you can come and ask inside the Jewelers Academy Facebook group for support as well. On social media is a great place as well to kind of get support and encouragement. And for those of you that are joining us in the Jewelry Business Academy, this is obviously a closed community of people all growing their businesses at the same time. So it's a brilliant place to get the kind of mentoring and support on what you might want to do and how you might want to do it. Under website, I'll finish off this example and then I'll leave the other two because I think you get the idea and you'll kind of get an idea of how you can do it for your own business. So for the website, I know that I'm going to create a homepage. That's going to be really important for my initial website. I also want to create an initial product page, even though I'm not going to be selling much through my website initially. I just want to kind of get that in place so that I could duplicate it. So once I've created that initial product page, I'm going to duplicate it 12 times for my 12 individual products so that they've got their own page where I can talk about them, explain the materials, kind of really get people to understand why I've made these pieces. I'm going to upload images to each page because I'll have all this beautiful photography that has been done. I'm also going to create a contact page so that people can get in touch with me. Connection was a really important part of my vision, so that's going to be important there. I mean, I think we all need a contact page on a website anyway, but in particular, I'm going to add in the terms and conditions and the shipping information just in case anyone does order from the website. I'm going to make sure I secure the domain, which is the kind of www.myjewelrybusiness.com, and connect it to my site and put it live. So these things seem obvious, but when we are starting a task, it can feel really overwhelming to think about them all in one go. That's why I think when we can jot them down and start ticking them off, it can feel really helpful and like we're really making progress, which we are. I'm also going to proofread the website myself and ask somebody to proofread it as well. So particularly for me, I'm dyslexic. I always need a proofreader. But I think we all need proofreading in our jewelry business because when we are so close to something, we can find it really hard to see any little mistakes and errors that we make, and we want to keep it professional. So asking a friend, somebody that you know or trust to be able to proofread your website for you is going to be an important stage. I'm going to add a newsletter sign up form because I know that my next goal is all about marketing, and I'm going to want to have some emails and start collecting people that I can send those emails to. So that gives you an example of how we've taken the goal, we've chunked it down into slightly more manageable chunks. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at how we take those chunks and put them into your weekly routine, so that we're not just crossing our fingers and hoping that they get done, but we've actually scheduled them into the diary. However concretely or loosely you find it helpful to do, it is definitely important for creatives to have structure. Even if you feel quite adverse to structure, some structure is going to be really important to be able to develop and grow a business. And for those of you that love structure, you're going to love this. It's going to be exciting. So good luck with your action points today. If you need any help, you know where to go. Come and join us in the Jewelers Academy Facebook group or on Instagram. Share anything you feel comfortable sharing with. I love seeing your progress in the Kickstart challenge. I think it helps spur each other on. And I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day 4, when we'll be looking at the weekly routine and how we can really build all these things that we've got so far, right from the vision through to now, and into our weekly routine before finally looking at finances on day 5. So I'll see you back then. Bye for now.